Bust the lock. Bust the lock. Bust the locks. Here. Here. Nigga, we're already in. Look, there's a camera right there. We're already in. Just do it. Go.
This ain't listen. This ain't.
Go. Just get it.
We got a problem.
Pick the door. Come here. I'm the fucking crypto. You want the crypto? I swear to God. I will cut you and kill you. You want the crypto, please. Do not make me do this. I'm ready to do it. You never have it. Get out of bed. Give us the crypto, please. You want the crypto? Go now, hurry up! Hurry! Go, keep going, hurry! Please hurry! It's in the pool. Oh, stop playing! No, it's across the way! Stop playing! It's across the way! Go! Okay, let's go!
Hey, did you have a camera? I'm taking the phone.
Hurry up! Come on! Here, it's in here.
I'm so tired.
Come on. Go. Okay.
All right, so I'm Colion Noir, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have already seen the video that I did about the home invasion that Caitlin experienced, and also Nick, who actually did the shooting as well. And so what I wanted to do was kind of basically go through exactly what happened, because I know I talk about self-defense, protecting your home, so forth and so on, but we don't always get the perspective of the people who actually lived through it. And so what I want to be able to do is actually walk through what happened, and so that people can take whatever information they can take from it, at least from your experience and your experience as well, and then make the adjustments accordingly so that if they happen to be in that type of situation, you can kind of be better prepared for it, even though y'all actually did a pretty damn good job. So, yeah. So, yeah, let's walk through it and see what happened. One thing I noticed when I first got here was, like, you guys' place is pretty well guarded. Like, it's a pretty hard place to get into from the front. Mm-hmm. So they didn't get in through the front. Mm-mm. They got in through the back.
Yes.
All right, so kind of talk to me about what happened and how they got in.
Yeah, in hindsight, we reviewed the security camera footage so we can really like piece together the timeline. 10:30 something, you start here. Unfortunately, this camera that's up here, it goes out, and so you can't see that for the 10-minute stretch, but you can hear it from the other cameras that there's some kind of activity going on here. It's like a sawing, a banging on it. And then basically, eventually, however they do it, they get 3 of these boards, which these are, we put new nails in to just secure it for now. 3 of these boards, basically, they pulled them out, and then they basically vaulted in.
Gotcha. So did they even attempt to try to get in through the front?
They did. Briefly, one of my cameras caught them, kind of making an approach from like kind of diagonally to the front, right? And then when the floodlights and stuff, because we have a lot of kind of security stuff out front, started flickering on, they clearly changed their method of attack. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then once they got in through this area here, what happens next?
They basically march straight across towards where the patio is, and usually the curtains are opened out, especially at night. And like they see the dogs, and you can see that they optically opt to go through the garage to hopefully avoid the dogs, it seems.
Gotcha. Okay, so I can see, so this is the garage area right here, right?
Yeah.
All right, because even my mind now, with the knowledge I have, if I kind of walked in and saw that, I would have thought that was the interior of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so basically they come here and then like they see the dogs are like right at the thing looking at them, right? And
on
like
on the other side of
this barrier,
gotcha.
Because that barrier is there, the curtains are not there.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
They're drawn, and then so like the dogs are just here looking. Princess is barking like a little bit, but like they're not really like it's like, oh, weird, there's strangers here, but like they're here to play or whatever. Then they optically go here, and that's when it gets a little comedic in that like this is always unlocked, which like this glass door, and so instead of checking it whatsoever, they just instantly go to smashing. In the glass, and then
just slid it open.
Yeah, and then suddenly
they didn't even try. They didn't even try to slide it open. They just
they just went for the thing, right? And then in here we have a bunch of like we entertain our nieces and nephews a bunch, and so there's a lot of kids' toys and just random doodads, and it's very cluttered. And so then there's this comical thing because there's a camera in there also of like they just are falling over things. It's dark. They're tripping over everything. They're swimming through this trash, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that would have flustered the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're tripping all over, and then like you can see they finally make it to the door, and they're thinking. I'm assuming that it must be okay. Now we're gonna get in the house, and they open it, and now they're facing the two dogs on the patio because this is a detached garage. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That's hilarious as shit, and that's on video.
Yeah.
At this point, we're gonna cut to you. And where you were at this time.
So I was laying in bed, and the three guys come in this hallway after they bust down the door, and then they turn all the lights on. I'm just like, what is happening? At this point, I already have Nick on the phone because as I was laying here, right, I went to bed early. He was still in his man cave across the driveway. I put on my sleeping mask, and about like maybe 2 minutes after I did that, I hear really loud bangs coming from beneath this. I guess that was them breaking the glass door.
Gotcha, okay.
But I didn't know that at the time.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, I know what's happening. I just hear really loud crashing sounds. And I call Nick and I asked if he heard that. He says, no, it's probably the dogs because our dogs will jump on the table and the crates on the patio and make noise. But I felt like it was way too loud for dogs. And so I told him, well, I'm going to lock the doors anyways. If you want to come in later, call me because I'll probably be asleep. And I went and locked this door, and then I locked my bedroom door over there. And I try to lay back down. And then a few minutes later, I hear even louder bangs coming from that door and then some shots because they were trying to shoot it open. And then they finally kicked it in, crashed, and that's when the three of them entered and turned on the lights. And so at this point, they're pointing guns at me, telling me to stand up. And so I come over here as they're like coming at me with the guns pointed at me. And I sit in this chair, and one of them has the gun pointed at my head.
So they sat you on the chair, or you sat
I sat on the chair.
Okay, gotcha.
Because they said stand up, but if they're coming this way, I don't really have anywhere else to go, right? And one of them has the gun pointed at my head, and the other one is asking where the crypto is. And he can hear all this too.
Yeah, relationally, I don't know where the phone is, but like I can hear, this, yeah.
Gotcha. So, so where was the phone at the time when?
At first, I had it when I sat down initially, but as he was asking where's the crypto, and I said, I don't have it, he took my phone. And then told me to unlock it for him. And then I guess he was looking for the Coinbase app, which I don't even have on my phone.
Gotcha.
And so when he didn't find that, he asked again, where's the crypto? And I said, I don't have it. It's not here. And then the guy pointing the gun said, hit her. Luckily, I had actually taken some influencer boxing courses because I was going to be in this huge tournament like a few years ago.
Okay.
And so my instincts went up just like to defend myself. And so that's why like my face looks okay. But I did get a laceration underneath my hairline on top of my head, and then like my hand is still recovering.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
From earlier this month, yeah. And so I was just going like this, and they hit me 3 times.
And they were hitting you with the gun?
Yeah, pistol whipping.
Ah, okay.
Not shooting.
Yeah.
If they did that, they don't know what the crypto is still, right?
So did they? So they assumed it was you still had it on exchange.
Yeah, I think they might have thought there was like a cold storage device somewhere that they didn't know where it was. They're trying to like get the answer out of me. And so after the 3rd pistol whipping, I just figured that they're not going to stop beating me. If I don't give them what they want, they might even shoot me, right? Because like they're already pointing at my head. They already shot the door down. So I knew I just had to do something. I didn't really have a plan, but I just knew that there's no way they're going to let me like open up my bed drawers to grab my gun or anything.
So that was going to be my next question. So you do keep a gun up here?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We do. But, you know, usually in my mind, it's always been like, oh, you hear you hear people break in, your camera alerts you and you have time to figure it out, but not in this case. It happened way too fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, you know, you actually technically did hear it, but because the kind of human mind, we don't want it to be what the worst case scenario is, right?
Right.
So because I probably would have done the same, like, nah, you know, you just kind of let it go. But then your intuition did kind of kick in. So you decided, hey, I'm going to call Nick. It's like, something's not right, right? And then inevitably, if you hadn't have done that, this could have probably honestly gone totally different.
Yeah.
Like totally different. So, and then at this point in time, you were over there in the man cave.
Yeah, it's
right?
a whole detached, separate structure. We originally merged 2 lots, and so that's the second lot. And you know, it's like how we do work life separation. It's like I have an office up there, I have like a man cave up there. She has her studios downstairs, and then there's a gym in that area. And so I'm in my man cave. And then, like, a lot of people mention, like, oh, well, how did you not hear? It's like that entire structure is hyper sound insulated, right? The idea was if I'm above her, I should be able, or she should be able to yell. I shouldn't be able to hear, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
And so that kind of, you know, worked against us in this case because I'm in the bathroom taking care of my business.
You mean you were taking a shit?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Okay, yeah, no, if we can say that, then we'll go with that, yeah. I was taking a shit, you know, and then, like, she called me back within 2 minutes, right? So it's like, I don't know, what, like 10:48, 49 p.m., okay? And then, you know, I pick up, I just finished, you know, the thing, and then it's on speakerphone, and then I hear the thing play out, like, instantly, right?
Gotcha.
Like, it really felt like the whole Taken thing, except I didn't speak to the bad guy on the phone. Is the only difference, yeah.
Right. So, at this point, finish off where you were when they had you here, gun to your head, they were beating you, they pistol whipping you with your gun or whatnot. All right, so then what happens from there?
Yeah, after the third hit, I just was like, I'm got to do something different. So I pretended that I knew where it was. Like, oh, I remember where I put it, actually. Hold on, I'll show you. You can have it all. And so I'm like, kind of like jogging. I don't have any shoes on either. I'm just like in my socks and pajamas, and I'm jogging through the hallway. Well, now we're getting a new door and everything. So yeah, I'm going through here. You can actually see, because my hands were covered in blood from my head and my hand being hit. You can see the blood still as I was like balancing myself. And I didn't even realize it at the time because I guess the adrenaline, but they had pulled my hair back. We saw on the security camera.
Like right here, like he just grabs a fistful of her hair and just yanks back. And you almost fall on your back in the video.
Yeah.
And like she doesn't remember that in the moment because, you know, whatever, but that's what me and Jacob saw looking at the footage, like just right after the thing, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I'm leading them across here. And at this point, I don't really have a plan, because I just know that any of the options for defense, whether it's going to be him or the panic room, are in this other building. Okay, so this is the building. And I don't actually know how close they are behind me, because I wasn't looking back at all. And so
you were kind of like at a jog trot.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. As much as you can do in bare feet.
Yeah.
Bare feet. And so I know that this panic room that we have, the door historically, every time I try to open and close it, is very heavy. And I just don't know if I have time with 3 of them chasing me to actually close it effectively before they just push it against me. And so I decided I'm just going to run up here.
So now we're back in your world.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So basically, on the phone during the call where I'm still hearing most of everything, I've, at this point, put up my briefs, didn't wipe. I have a plate carrier by the door. I'm a little bit of an over prepper, and so I slip that on. I type in a little thing into my little, gun safe thing, like just for a handgun, right?
So, did you get it right the first time? The code?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
But okay, so I have a really dumb code that you can't really mess. It's like the same number.
Gotcha.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Fair enough. And the reason I asked that is for my own personal, because sometimes I'm in a situation where if I have a gun in my safe like that, is the adrenaline going to cause me to kind of fuck up the first time and then kind of go back? Because, it can be a little kind of hard to do that. So that's why I asked.
Yeah. And so I knew right then that, unfortunately, most of my guns are locked away. I have my concealed carry, 9mm handgun, and then I also have a shotgun. But because I know, hearing that they're, hitting her and are clearly close in proximity, I know that the shotgun isn't going to be the thing. So I slip on the plate carrier, I take the gun out of the locker after I press the code, and I'm running down here and I run to this door. by the time I get to this door, like they're clearly on the move. And like my Google Home thing is flashing with notifications like person moving across camera 2 upstairs, person moving across camera 3. I don't know if it's a 5-second or a 30-second delay. I just know that they are on the move. And then, like hearing it, like she's clearly leading them somewhere. And so I figured she's definitely going to lead them here because not only is the panic room here, I'm here, and she was on the phone with me, right?
Okay.
So everything that is an out, so to speak, is here. And so with that in mind, and this is the thing, right? Like full sprint from here to the master is like 2.5 minutes probably. Their whole elapsed time from the door coming down to me shooting the guy is like 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Like we tell the story and it's like, oh, it sounds like half an hour, but no, it's like less than 5 minutes, right? And it's like, from on the toilet and up. And so I'm at the door and then I realize, okay. And then luckily we have these lights kind of like the other place where if you smash the top, they go max brightness because it's the gym, right?
Okay.
And so the idea, like, luckily I have a little bit of experience, now that I've seen camera work. I'm like, okay, lighting's like an important thing. So I turn on all the lights here max, and then I run up here and I turn off this whole staircase lights.
Okay, so at this point, where are you at this, after you smash the lights? So
then I run up and I want to close the lights here so that there's at least some.
Before I go.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then like as luck would have it, like I'm coming back down and then they're like it's so fast, right? And so then basically it was tough because I knew it's like in the movies it's like, oh, someone's holding your loved one at gunpoint and it's like, oh, you just take the perfect shot, but like I know enough to know that you can't take that, like that kind of thing. Like I can at least. And so like I was.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
So because you mentioned something, I'm gonna go back real quick. You talked about starting between a shotgun and a handgun, right? So what made you choose a handgun over the shotgun? I'm kind of leading you into what you're getting at now.
So if it was me hold up, I would probably pick the shotgun, but because I'm going to them, one thing, and then the second thing, the more important one is that she's with them in close proximity. It just felt like that was too much of a blunt instrument.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, my hope was that like, I didn't think she would respond if I told her to get down. And so I was like, I need to have a window of actually firing. And so I picked a spot where I thought, there could be some separation. And so they come here, she's here, and she's leading them, right? And she gets to here, and I tell her to get down. And like, I still credit her with acting so like, she's so cogent and calm that like she gets down immediately.
Okay.
She just gets all the way down. And then like, these three, they rush up here and then they line up briefly. And so I only see what the first guy's doing, right? Like I'm just tunnel visioning on him. And he looks up at me and like in the moment, like it's all on mute, right? Like, stress and adrenaline's at its peak. And so he yells something at me as he's raising his, hand holding the gun. And I don't know what that is. I see his mouth moving. And then so, I have my gun roughly trained on him, and then I fire, 3 shots, even though, and I thought they'd be loud, but like it was literally like I didn't hear the shots.
Which is crazy because we're in here right now, so you're gonna get some decent level of rebellion.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like no, there's the volume was off, right?
Yeah, my ears are ringing.
Yeah.
Oh, so your ears were okay because at that point you were already kind of out of the adrenaline.
Yeah, she wasn't even looking at the thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so like, I can tell he's hit somewhere because he stumbles back, and if I had to guess, like, I aim center, but because no one expects to, I don't train on an incline, so it's like I went low.
Yeah.
Like, right? And so he stumbles back, his friends grab him, they pull him. And from my vantage point, it's like, I can't see them anymore. So I run to her, she's still huddled here. I grab her and I pull her up, and she had no idea what the outcome was.
Yeah.
Right? Shots are going.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I pull her up, I lock the door up there, and then
did they get a shot off back towards you or at all?
That's
or?
unclear.
Gotcha.
Later on, because I've never in my life fired a 22, but they found a 22 shell casing and then the actual bullet. So it's like somewhere but like who knows, right?
Yeah, he had the bulletproof vest on, so.
Yeah, I played carrier. Yeah. Well, they didn't hit me. I know that.
Yeah. There you go.
What gun was it?
It was a Staccato CS.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So not a huge gun, but I mean decent capacity, about 16 plus one. I mean 15 plus
stack,
one. Yeah. So okay. Also, and so at that time when you went to grab it, what was your thought process in terms of grabbing the gun, in terms of thinking through? Like, did you see your sights? Did you have a red dot on it? Did you see the red dot? So forth and so on.
Yeah, I have a red dot on all my guns. Basically, it's just easier for me because I it's like not a profession, so it's like I don't have that level of comfort. I want it to be pick up and go. But in that case, like, there's a lot of things I don't remember. One is I don't remember turning the safety off. And then one is that like, no, I don't remember seeing the dot line up. It was more so like just instinctual, you pick it up, and then luckily muscle memory kicked in, safety off, and then, you know, you fire the shots.
And that's why I kind of always talk about, like when you go out and train, like just do even a little bit, just train a little bit of not using your sights. And what I mean is just point shooting, just drawing and then just acting as if you're startled and presenting a gun. Because like you just talked about, you had a red dot on there, right? And you didn't even remember seeing the red dot, which I think is what's going to happen with most people. And people I've talked to who've been in situations, I've yet to meet one person that said, oh yeah, I had a clear front sight, or I had that red dot dialed in on exactly what I was shooting at. It's never, ever happened from the people I've talked to. So being able to do that, I think is going to be incredibly valuable. And then so like now you're on the ground, crouched down. So what's going through your head? Because at this point, you know, you're leading them into a situation. You know he kind of knows what's going on to a degree, but you don't know exact. So what's going through your mind at that point?
It sounds crazy, but like not that much. I guess the shock, and now it's starting, my head starting to pound more. Gotcha. And so he tells me to hide, and I go to the balcony that we have, and I just huddle there in the corner until the police come. And then as I'm sitting on the balcony, though, I'm thinking like, I don't know if he's dead or not, because I didn't look back, and he went to go
guarding
fight
the
bad
door.
guys, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, because you don't know if they're going to come back.
Correct.
They
yeah.
dragged them off.
It felt like now with the benefit of hindsight, you see them. They get shot. They never stop running. Right. Like the security camera outside this building shows them coming in, 3 shots firing, them running out like Scooby-Doo villains. They never stop running through the whole property. Every camera's catching them running, and the guy who got shots in shock yelling, you know, just on repeat, I got shot. I got shot. I got shot. You know.
Gotcha. And so they went out the way they came in.
Yeah, like just you know, and then like, you know, the guy who got shot stumbles because it's like a little bit of a vault over, and so he stumbles and like leaves, like, you know, he leaves blood all along the driveway, and then he leaves a little pool where he fell over the thing. But to me, I shot one guy. There's 3 armed guys. They seem pretty determined. I thought for sure they're going to avenge their buddy, or they're going to come for what they were here for. Right. And so I was standing guard behind that door, and then this is the call I made to 911. And then like, even, you know, like as I was saying it, like you, cause like, oh, so this is the part I haven't mentioned as much, but it's like, we get swatted a lot.
Okay.
Like that also is a big risk that comes with the live streaming, right? Because if they can get that instant feedback of I swat the person and I see them being swatted, that's like that sends them into overdrive, you know? Like a YouTube thing, you'd edit it out, right?
Yeah.
And like, so
unless
like,
Peter told me to keep it there.
And so it's like, honestly, like at times it felt like once a month, and you know, even infrequently, it's at least once every other month. It happens all the time.
Crazy.
It is, yeah.
That is crazy.
It's at a certain scale of live streaming, and like obviously bigger people, it affects them even more.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, some of them, like it's like, you know, they have the person, the responder on phone, and then they're just like, you know, we're gonna send someone over, just show them your ID, say everything's okay, right?
Yeah.
That's what it becomes, right? The first time, you know, you're military hog tied to the floor, and the guys with guns are swarming the place, and then after that, you know, a cop shows up, and you just, you know, looks at your ID, asks you a few questions, and it's done, right? So like for me, bumps in the night, if they involve people, they've always been a swatting. And so like my first response actually can't be, you know, imagine in suburbia America, you show up and open the front door with a gun,
that's why literally my mind was like, it's fucking dangerous.
Shit. Yeah. So it's almost like, you know, historically more dangerous to be like guns out running around the place like a cowboy, right? And so, you know, but in this case, I felt pretty good that it was definitely not any kind of authority thing. Yeah. And so, you know, I felt like somewhat freed up to act in that way. Yeah.
So now, from that perspective, having gone through all of that, so what kind of, and you know, within reason, because there's no point to just share everything at that point, and then now everybody knows the whole system. But like, kind of what changes mentally, physically have y'all kind of undergone in terms of, you know, potentially guarding against something like this happening again?
More security, better reinforced walls. You know, it's like if you have 2 big cement walls and then some wood ones, well, they're going to go to the wood ones probably, if they can at all.
It's either move or make yourself an optically and actually just harder target, right? Yeah.
Because I mean, like, even from the police standpoint, I'm like, how many times did you call the cops? Did you ever call the cops at any point?
No.
I called twice.
Okay.
Once.
They took my phone,
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah. So once was when they were halfway, like not halfway, but like they were rounding the driveway and starting that journey, and then the phone finally disconnects. That's when it actually. So I stopped getting the audio feed by itself. The camera was pinging, right?
Pinging.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I called the cops, and like literally that first call, and it's fair because it's like I've never been on the the calling side of the equation. It's someone swatting me, right?
Gotcha.
And so then I'm over there, and like every time I got swatted previously, I would ask them, after they were done sweeping the place, I'd be like, what did they even say? And it was always something hyper outrageous, like, oh, there's a hostage situation, the kids are still here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And in this case, I picked up the phone. I said, hey, there's 3 guys. They have my wife at gunpoint, and it's kind of a hostage situation. I was like, this is a swatting call. And then you could tell they were like, maybe they sent someone immediately, but they were kind of like, okay, hold on, more slowly, sir. Like, who are you and what's the situation? It's like, and then at that point, I go, they're coming, I gotta go. Yeah. And they go, no, stay, whatever. I was just like, all right, I'm hanging up.
Gotcha.
And I do the thing, and then I call them back.
Yeah. So the reason I asked you that too is the first thing that just went through my head was like, damn, it's like you even if you wanted to wait for cops, you couldn't. You didn't have the time. Right. So that's crazy, and that's something I'm always kind of pointing out. It's like it's not that cops don't want to be there. It's not like they can't be there. They literally can't be there.
Yeah.
They just can't be there at time. Like even for you, like you were in your bed.
Yeah.
Like you're not calling the cops. Like there's nothing they're gonna do to help you in that situation.
Yeah, and if I was on the phone with the cops, it could have just shot me, right?
There's that too. Yeah, I didn't even think about that actually.
And like the second call, it was about 8 minutes, so it's pretty fast, right? Like it's like on the scale of it, I think it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
But this whole thing from her door coming down, if you start the clock at that point, to me shooting the guy, it was like 4 minutes 30 some odd seconds. So it's like it's double that time still.
That's crazy. And like just walk, like you said, walking that from them getting into there, walking to where she was, then having her come out of here. We're not even factoring in everything that happened on the chair, right? So there's that, and it's still just 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's fast.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think we still have the blood in the bullet holes.
A little bit,
you,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The guy getting shot, and then the bullet holes in the wall right here.
Well, no, I mean, I really appreciate it because like I said, very few people are going to go through this, but nobody knows if they're going to go through it, right? Yeah. So that's why I kind of wanted you guys to kind of walk through it for me so that we can give your side of the story and then people can kind of learn from that. And I know a lot of people thought it was fake,
right?
Because you were posting it on Twitter and on social media and so forth.
And a lot of them said they didn't see the blood until like, because most of the security footage of me running over here, it was still like in my hair.
Gotcha.
And so
your hair's red.
It is red.
Yeah, gotcha.
But then by the time I guess on the balcony, I was like just checking out my own wounds, and then like because I rubbed my head, it started bleeding more.
And they brought medical people, so once they reached us, it was like momentary before the medical people were absolutely on her. But like when me and the first responder turned to look at her, my first time really seeing her in the light, like it was just a lot of blood coming down, and it looked a lot, like it looked like we both asked, like are you hit,
And I think part of the reason where you got some of the it's fake aspect too is because the main video we saw was you running to this door.
Right.
Right. And so without context, it just seems freaking odd. It's like, what? She's like trotting to the door and you're like, what the hell? But now within the full context, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And then the other part was like they go, wait, you said you were woken up by them, but why are you running to the front door?
Exactly,
then?
Right. But they didn't have the layout of the way things are here. Yeah. So well, I really do appreciate you letting us kind of come into you guys' house and just showing the world essentially what happened. And I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Did your shit. Good shit. Good shit. That was a good shit.
Yeah. I just ran. I was like, I don't know what to do.
No, I mean, for a lot of people, like, they don't have, and like you said, it wasn't like you had this planned out in your mind and you had this, but you had some level of preparation, which helped you in that regard, right? For everything that went wrong, enough went right to overcome what went wrong. And so I'm not going to lie to you, play care of some G shit. I always thought about doing the same thing, right? So last question, and it might be a difficult one, may not be. If you didn't have access to a firearm, what do you think you would have or could have done?
I have no idea. It's almost like, because I afterwards, you run the scenario endlessly. And you're like, even in my scenario, I could shave a few seconds off by not getting my gun, right? And so it's like, what would I do? Rush over there and then, oh, hey guys, like I know where it is. Like, that's all you can do. I know where the crypto is. She doesn't know. Let her go. If you let her go, I'll show you where, like something like that, right? But then it ain't great, but like I guess it fixes her. Maybe, right? Maybe, because like there's 3 of them. If one guy goes with her, then he's still with her.
That's true. That's
so it's true. like I've thought about it. I was like, I have no idea. Like that was the only like path that didn't lead to like disaster. It seemed like.
No,
Yeah.
makes sense. Damn, well, fuck, it's crazy. But no, I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm glad everything worked out as best it could.